Good morning, everybody. Welcome to those of you in the room, but also those of you joining over the air and virtually. So circular economy is obviously a very dominant theme at this year's IFA, last year's IFA also. And I guess all of us can sympathize with this topic. We just had a chat before backstage that only 7% of global resources get recycled. It's a lot of e-waste, and all of us, if we are honest to ourselves, most likely have more than one old smartphone somewhere at home. Research shows more than 3 smartphones, which are still stuffed with very important resources. And there's too little recycling and there's too little reuse. The policymakers have obviously picked up on this, as many of you know. Internationally, there's the EU Green Deal with the Right to Repair Act, which is now being put in place. There's similar policies being created and acted upon in the United States, more recently in India as well, the R2R, the Right to Repair Act. So that's something I want to talk about today with a great set of experts. And maybe we start with a just high-level question to all of you, and maybe Christoph, you can start. Scaling from 1 to 10, how are we doing on circular business models overall, and what's your assessment?
Yes, I've done the self-assessment as we have discussed. It's not so easy to have the right rating, but I would put us between 4 and 5. So we are on the way. That's for sure. If you know that Miele is in the 4 Rs already well on the way. If you have repair, where we have really delivery of spare parts for 15 years after the end of the series production, that's really long, well-educated staff all over the world where we are selling. We have also the longevity as really a big thing that we put forward with the 20 years. And we have therefore also the material in the appliances which can be recycled really to a good extent, and also recycled material in that. But there are also things directly connected to the business models that are not easy to brought into the business. And this is something I think we need to discuss today. And
okay.
Yeah, that's
so
for that.
4 to 5. I'm hearing
4 to 5. Maybe I'm ranking too high, but
well, we'll take the average later. Elin, how are you looking at 1 to 10, the score of how we are doing on, like, say, the existence and sustainability of the circular?
I would say 1 or 2, maybe. Okay. Very, very badly. I mean, we're only recycling or getting back around 7% of the resources back into the economy. We're wasting more than 90%, so we haven't even started yet, basically.
Mm-hmm. Franz?
Yeah, I think I'll take the middle ground and say 2 to 3. I'm also quite optimistic about the potential, which is still untapped, basically. And I think when you look at it closely, at least that's what I find, we are facing a huge knowing-doing gap. So that is something we need to come to terms with in terms of what do we know, how to do things right, and why don't we do it? How can we actually improve in the given, with the given boundary conditions, say economic boundary conditions, for example. So there's, I'm looking forward to this talk. Yeah.
Okay, Vincent. Now you have a few scores left at the top end of the range.
Maybe I don't give the score because from different angle, from different aspect, there's different scores, right? So if you narrow down to recycling, this score is really low. But if you talk about the whole product life cycle, maybe we still do something. Like my idea we're doing a lot of things, from a design point of view. We already have a lot of, innovation as well. We're using a simulation system in order to reduce our testing of the unit. That's also lower down a lot of the carbon. Yeah. So this kind of things is also improving a lot. In the same time, we also, when the raw material selecting, we're also doing something differently. We're using some like steel. We're using a lot of steel to making our home appliances. But in the same time, you know that, steel itself can be recycled. We're using a lot of steels, but in the same time, we don't wasting the steel. In some way, we recycled it, and then we use it again. So that's the kind of things that I say, maybe it's not a answer to you directly, but as I said, I think we do need something to improve, right? So that's my idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe let's zoom into some of the different elements of circular business models. There's technological questions, there's commercial questions, there's obviously legal questions, and also there's a lot of IP protection, which still needs to be kept up with. On the commercial angle, and we have two representatives here from the industry, obviously, with Miele and Midea. How are we doing on making these circular models commercially viable? Because once a product is installed in a household, you would have to take it back, cost number one. You would have to unscrew it, open it, repair it, and then bring it back into the market, which is hugely costly. So how are we doing on that front, and where are you looking for additional evolution or support maybe even to make it commercially viable?
So it's me?
Yeah. Let's go first.
Okay. Yes, this is really a vital question because we have the linear model. Yep. We can also apply to the linear model the VR technologies, and we at Miele are doing that from the design to the consumer, helping the consumer, bringing things then to a point where they can do a lot of things themselves, and also doing many things for recycling in the production, having the recycled material in, and having also it recycled to a good extent. And on the other side, having a business model where you are circling appliances after a time. And if you look at the business model, this is something that needs to be accepted also by the customer. Imagine for a car you have a contract for 3 or 4 years and then give it back. That's not the cycle for our household appliances. That need to be longer to make it sustainable. And then the question is how to do that. And will the customers also accept all the contracting details on that? Because it's easy to go into a shop and buy a washing machine. You pay 400, 500, maybe for Miele a little bit more for a washing machine, take it home and use it for the time it works. And it should work long. And this is the core question. And with these cycles that we are planning for in this business model, to make it really sustainable and also profitable. And all these things are really, really important. And it's not easy to come over that because we are testing the waters.
Of course.
And it's not easy. And there are countries that accept things, but there are not too many.
Vincent, maybe the more Asian perspective. How do consumer patterns and consumer acceptance differ when it comes to circular business models? Maybe renting, refurbished products. How is this evolving in the Asian part of this world?
In China, maybe not the Asia part, but at least in China, I can share something. Actually, as an idea, also we have our partners. We do not do the recycling things by ourselves. We have working with more than 50, partners. They are doing the dismantling things and recycling things. So this is kind of business model is not really mature yet. It's just starting. But for these kind of things, at least, as I said, China education level improve day by day, and people starting to really understand this is very important. So I think the business model maybe will come up later on when the government and the regulator giving some more rules and also giving some incentive, then things can be changed. But at least now, private things is important. So as a private company, so we try to promoting these kind of recycling things, as I said. So for finished goods, as I said, working with a partner. But in the front side, also we trying to do some things with our suppliers. supply chain, when our partner, they can do something recycling itself. Like I said, steel things as well. So I think working in the front side and back side, these two things, as long as in the life cycle things we can do something, we do something.
Very good.
It's improved.
Ellen, I'm sure you have a view on that, being based in the Nordics, which typically is also sometimes more advanced on some of these things. So what's your take?
Yeah, so CradleNet is a business network where we teach companies on how to become circular, among other things. And what we did was we found that if you go from selling a product to selling a service, and you call that practice as service business models or PaaS. That was something that a lot of our members and a lot of companies in the Nordics are very interested in, but a lot of them tried it and failed. So we wanted to figure out, like, when does it work and how do you make it work and why does it fail when it fails? So we did a project together with Stena Circular Consulting, was EU funded, where we developed not only a report where we've asked companies that were successful trying this, but also companies that were kind of almost successful and the ones that failed. What did you do and what made you successful or fail? And we even also developed a methodology. So if you want to try this business model, you can follow very easy, step-by-step guidelines on how to do it. And I mean, this is not a new thing. Rolls-Royce have been doing it for 50 years. They have the power by the hour machines. All the airplane engines, for instance, are Rolls-Royce engines, and they're not even, a part of the plane. It's their own things. And if you don't want to fly an airplane where the engine kind of crashes after a while, so it needs to last for a long time, it needs to be reliable, and so on. So what we did was not only give the guidelines on like what to do with your business model, but also how to communicate it to the customers so they understand. And the customers are usually thinking that it's more expensive, but it's not. And it's more like you have to communicate in the right way. So we really feel that there are ways to do this in a good, successful way, but you need to do it right, kind of.
Very good. There's a second piece to the puzzle where I want to involve Franz, which is the technical feasibility of a circular business model. And in particular, if you think about the right to repair, you may think about products being more modular, more easy to open, more easy to also repair and service as a consumer who may not be a skilled service technician. How are we doing, Franz, on, let's say, the technical feasibility and the option space to create a circular product?
From an engineering point of view, I think the situation is a lot more clear than when compared to regulation, for example. From an engineering point of view, durability, so prolonging the lifetime of a product, is normally the best way to reduce material expense. But then also there comes a point, and that's with every product, where there probably needs to be some improvement, and that when repair comes in, and that when repairability comes in. So if I have a product which needs repair but can't be repaired, that's a problem. So then there's a high risk that the whole product is discarded, is not used anymore, and must be replaced by a new product, which implies all the material it takes to produce this product. So we have durability, extending the lifetime, then repairability, extending further, and but then there's also other aspects. For example, technological progress. So the state of the art is progressing, and then new techniques or technologies come up, for example, with regard to energy efficiency. So new ways to transform power, for example, or to drive motors. They are more efficient. Now I have an old product, very durable, very long lifetime, but old technology, high energy footprint. So how can I replace that? How can I improve that? And then we are talking about modularity, upgradability is the term. And modularity is also something which was implied already in repairability. So if you look at these things, there is an overlap in these requirements. And from an engineering point of view, as I said, this is not subject of debate. It's very clear, the situation is clear. A product needs to be designed by a designer like me, for example, and then the product has a mission profile, and that mission profile needs to be met, and also an expectancy in terms of lifetime. All this can be designed. The thing is, with consumer products, with their very short life cycles, why very short life cycle? Because there's also an expectation from the market, and that's the other side of things. So there's one side, how to do things. That's what I mean with knowing doing gap. This is actually, all the involved parties have this gap. It's not just the engineers not knowing, which is not true. They know. It's not the companies. At least I think so. Then there's the companies who also know, but also need to be economical. So the product needs to meet a certain price criteria to be accepted by the market, for example. So, yeah, I don't think from a technology point of view there's a problem actually. The problem is how to put the technology into the product so it is a product which is sustainable. Yeah.
I think, Elin, I'm sure you also have a...
Yeah, I mean, I think you're absolutely right. And I think there's some things that should be repaired by consumers themselves, but sometimes also shouldn't be repaired by the consumers. We have the right to repairability now, or right to repair movement, and also regulation coming from the EU. And just one of these, this is a refurbished iPhone 13. It's already been pre-owned. But if I'm going to repair it, I don't know. I don't have a vacuum room that I can, make this waterproof again if I repair it. So maybe sometimes it's better to give it away to a company that actually has that technology to do it in a good way. Of course, I should be able to change my battery. That shouldn't be so hard. But there are some ways that it's going to be hard to repair. And also, I mean, if you're going to do recycle all these technologies. Sometimes it's better to make sure it could last for a very long time, yes, but it should be on a regular basis be refurbished. So sometimes it's not good to keep it until it dies. It's better to hand it over after 3 years so it can be refurbished, because then it will last such a longer time. The lifespan of this phone will be much longer if it gets refurbished a few times. So we also have to think about that. So it's also a knowledge gap. We need to know more how to use and repair and refurbish and so on.
Yeah, and I think the two of you touched upon one important point, which is the feasibility of doing repairs by your own. And there's a liability question. And I want to ask Christoph and Vincent on this liability question, because I can imagine in particular for major domestic appliances, this must be a tricky one, because you may not, like consumers, fiddle with the washing machine where there's obviously water flowing. You may not want them to fiddle with an oven where you got high levels of electricity, which can be hugely dangerous if you don't know how to do this. So how are you looking at this, the feasibility and also the liability question, if we enable a consumer to take a screwdriver and unscrew an oven by themselves?
Yeah, really very important issue. It's not that we do not want the customer to do that, but we want that the customer is on the safe side. So, and there are areas that are really risky where when you dig in and you are repairing it, you do not know what to do, then it could be really, really risky. So maybe we need other levers to make this really secure. So to also to have areas where you can easily plug. So that what you said, having modules that can be changed. But the problem is this will come with extra costs, because you need to have extra parts that make it safe. So you look at the plug. If you have a plug, then it is material that you need extra. If you go to that, what the customer can do, we can do with AI and all these other things. We can support the customer, as we are showing here at the IFA, so that we do not need a repair, because if you care for your appliance in the right way, then you avoid repair in the first stage. So I think we can do a lot on that, but if it comes to a repair, we need to look at what the customer can do, and there we will support him or her, but there will be also areas where it should not be a repair from the
Vincent,
customer.
well, how is Midea looking at this critical question about
Yeah.
circularity?
I would like to echo to Christoph. So the things is clear. So for these kind of things, we need to using some new technology as well. So AI is very well used in our production line, in order to improve the reliability. Because man, as a human being, you always make a mistake. But AI can detect the failure rate. Everything is very clear. So we're already doing a lot of things, using new technology in order to help us to doing these manufacturing things, improvement. And in the same time, design point of view, also doing a lot of simulation, these kind of things, although to helping us to avoid these kind of issues later on, right? So, but at the same time, our partner also helping us a lot because the parts, for the components point of view, a lot of suppliers, they also improve their technology as well. So we are trying to helping each other to understand what's the needs and then improve the whole design things. So that's things we think about it. Yeah.
Perfect. One topic we keep hearing a lot in the context of circular products is, in particular from the industry, is IP protection.
Yeah.
And do repairable circular products, a mobile phone which can be unscrewed, does that hinder innovation? And does that make IP protection more difficult? Because you will have to, in the future, disclose more details about a product. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to unscrew it or repair it myself. Or you even have to, or may be willing to send spare parts to a consumer from the very first day a product is on the market. Maybe Franz, how are you looking at that as an engineering technical experts? Are manufacturers justified in their concern about disclosing more IP via these initiatives than potentially in the past?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question because on the one side we know that a repair can only be safe. Actually, that's the most important point. And the second most important point is successful. So the repair can only be safe and successful if there's enough information about how to repair. So the question then comes, okay, how does the consumer or anyone else who wants to perform this repair can get access to that information? And the one approach you mentioned is that construction details, plans, schematics need to be published, more or less. That's how I understand it. And that way, the consumer or everybody else can be put into position to make a successful and safe repair. I actually, that's so far the theory. From a practical point of view, I disagree because technical documentation that it is used, for example, for production of a product, is normally not readable to everyone. So you need to have a certain degree of expertise to actually have access to the way things are drawn or things are laid out in these documents. So these are very sophisticated, very engineering documents, basically. So my preference, also as a repairer, would be if the manufacturers would, instead of disclosing or having to disclose even all these production information, they would publish information which is customized for an actual repair. So it only tells me what I need to do, only leaves me with the information to have a safe and a successful repair. And it doesn't overwhelm me or have a high requirement on me in terms of, oh, I need to have an engineering course on YouTube before I can repair. I think that's not the way to go. So also an important point is, and I will not elaborate further on this, I think manufacturers could be understood also in a circular economy as guardians of the products they deliver. So they have an investment, they have also a USP, and that USP puts them in a position of responsibility with regards to their products. And in that case, I think a cooperative approach to this issue would be a lot more helpful, because the manufacturers know everything better than anyone else. They don't need to interpret anything, and they can select which information is the right information to have a successful and safe repair.
Any view from the industry on?
Yeah. We are already doing many things to support the repair, as I give us information in the beginning. So everybody can buy the spare parts from the first day as we have then put these appliances on the market. And it's also from regulation, but also going a little bit further, also giving the manuals to repair to professional repairers, because to make it safe, so that not laymen do things that they maybe do not understand. So we are supporting that, and I think it's also something that helps us, because we are measuring ourselves how long our appliances are used. And this is prolonging the use of the appliances, and this is helping us also. We have our own service that would support the customers if it is not possible to repair themselves. And everything that is possible, that we support via our app, having also a first check of the message of the failure, and then giving the information what to do. And if it's possible that the customer can repair, then they have the information at hand to repair it, and can also buy the spare part if necessary.
Maybe, before we already have to come to a close, we didn't touch upon politics yet. And as I mentioned initially, a lot of the drive around sustainable business models come from, for example, the European Green Deal, the right to repair, which has been piloted in France for a couple of years, and also, all the other initiatives and acts which are being rolled out globally. Elin, how are we doing on the politics side, and should politics accelerate? Should there be more
supportive? Of course, they should accelerate, yeah. No, but there's beautiful things coming out of the EU right now. I'm in love with the European Union, because now with the Circular Economy Action Plan, new fantastic regulation is coming out, which makes it mandatory to not only disclose your financial report every year, but you also have to disclose your carbon emissions, your biodiversity impact, pollution, water and marine resources, and circular economy. And you have to disclose it in detail. So this is what makes, we get so many new members in my networks, because they want to know how to do this. So we teach them. We have this, how to report on CSRD, the taxonomy and everything.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. And this will impact the world, basically. Because if you're going to be a company, it's going to be first large cap companies, the largest companies in Europe. It's going to be the mid-sized companies and the small ones. And even the ones importing goods and materials to Europe, which basically means that it will impact the world. So everybody wants to know now how to do this. So this will change everything. So I'm very happy about the regulations coming out right now.
What else do you expect in terms of regulation?
Well, everybody in the different countries need to do their own regulations. And in Sweden, we had this fantastic tax reduction for repair for a while. And then the new government took it away. But I think that's what's needed, because right now there's a lot of people everywhere that doesn't want to repair their own thing. They don't have an interest. They want to pay for it. But if it's more expensive than buying a new product, they will buy a new product.
Of course.
So it needs to be cheaper to be, to repair, and also be easy to find the repair people. So it's good that you have, the certified repair people that knows your product. But we need to get this into our culture. We don't buy new things; we repair them first of all. So there's a lot of things that can be done in a national level as well.
If we come to the wrap up already, and we are already running over a little bit, maybe we do another round concluding here, and maybe Vincent, you want to start. I think we all acknowledge we are off to a good start. Many things have been put in place, and companies have adapted already. Technical feasibility is there. The regulation plays a positive role in supporting this change. But what still needs to happen to make circular business models not a niche, but maybe a mainstream someday? Well, what's the next stage of evolution from your point of view?
As I said, I think the thing is always promoting things. As I said, China part in the past is not that educated for this part.
Yeah.
For sustainability, nobody's really talking about this. So I think the next stage for us, especially in Asia part, is promoting the idea. It really, some of the company like Madea as an example to show that we should do this. So from the design, from the use and maintenance, from the recycling, every life cycle, we have to do something. And also need to communicate with the end user. Really let them understand you're doing something really, really good. Take an example. We just launched our highest energy efficiency product in our booth. That means what? That's a R290 unit, means a propane used unit. If you buy a mainstream product using R32 refrigerant product versus what we are doing that unit, it looks like you decrease the carbon emission about 447 kilogram, something like that. That means what? Equal you plant 30 trees. So we have to promote in these kind of ideas, not only in one cycle, but every cycle. You have to, when you use it, you're also saving the planet, right? So these kind of ideas promoting green things. So everybody understand green also means sustainability. So everything can be changed. So
perfect.
We will do whatever we can do. We don't just say, oh, we have a long vision, but we don't do anything at this stage. So we do whatever we can do now.
Very good. Franz, repeating my question, what does it take for the next stage or breakthrough of these circular business models from your point of view?
I think what really would help to get the consumer out of this predetermined role of just accepting products and maybe needing to be convinced of them by some means. I think what really would help is what I call eco-transparency. So you're not just seeing the product as it is in front of you, but also every product has a history. Where do the materials come from? Where does it go afterwards? So you see the whole picture. And once you see the whole picture, I think it's very easy to distinguish a beautiful product from a not so beautiful product. So that's something everyone can do. The only thing that needs to be provided is the whole picture. And if people see the whole picture, I think their preference for beauty, which is in every human, will guide them to the right product.
Perfect.
I'm going to give a super short answer because time is up. So it's going to be a $25 trillion sector by 2050. So if you're not on the train, you're going to be losing. So everybody get on it. Just do it. That's my message.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Christoph, closing statement.
Last sentence would be create an environment in which circularity business can grow and become profitable in the EU and all over the world.
Perfect. Thank you all. Thanks for joining this panel. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.